I accidentally discovered a woman who had been gruesomely murdered when I was 12 years old. It started off as a normal Saturday morning. My mom had woken up early before everyone as with every other morning and was preparing breakfast when she realized the kitchen was missing an ingredient she needed for her cooking, so she woke me up to hurriedly run to the market and get it for her. I wasn't all that happy about being woken that early, but I got up and headed to the market after brushing my teeth. The market wasn't all that far, just a 5-minute walk from my house. I just had to walk out of my street and take the main road that led to the market. But as it was in the early hours of the morning, the road seemed deserted and lonely. This would be the ideal representation of the main road and sidewalk I had to take. Halfway down the road to the market, I stumbled upon an equivalent to a $1 bill on the sidewalk. Excitedly, I quickly bent down to pick up the bill and in the process noticed another bill a foot from where the one I had seen was. I quickly picked up the first bill and went for the second, and on picking it noticed another bill on the grass of the sidewalk. I immediately surveyed the grass and noticed a trail of bills leading into the bush. I was ecstatic. While still half bending, I followed the trail of money into the bush, picking up one bill after the other. As you must know, at this position, my face was in proximity to the ground, and as a result, my vision was narrowed to the immediate bill in front of my eyes as I followed the trail of bills into the bush. My head was still in the cloud of excitement when I stumbled upon a particular bill lying on shallow grass with what appeared to be a red stain on it. As I proceeded to it with my hand stretched out, I immediately noticed the red stain was looking more like a blood stain, and the bill was, in fact, lying on something that was half hidden by the shallow grass, and on close inspection was the bloody body of a woman lying on her back. She had been gruesomely murdered. It took only a second to comprehend what had happened. The woman, probably a hooker who had been picked up the previous night, had been murdered somewhere, and her privates, breast included, had been cut off, and the murderers had driven her to the side of the road that morning to dump her corpse and carried her out of the car into the bush with her open purse still on her, which had been spilling the bills that had left a trail to her corpse. I still remember the pained expression she had on her face with her eyes still wide open. At that moment my grip on the bills I had gathered loosened and they all fell to the ground. Everything went fuzzy as I staggered backwards and fell to the ground. My heart was racing with fear and adrenaline. I could not breathe. I attempted to scream, but only felt like I was dry heaving. This was what an intense panic attack felt like. I tried several times to stand, but my legs felt weak and I kept falling in my attempt to scramble out of there. Eventually, I succeeded and made a run for it, but my eyes were already blurred with tears that made it difficult to see the road in front of me. By the time I got home, I was already hyperventilating and scared the hell out of my mom. Eventually, I cried myself to sleep in the arms of my mom while she consoled me. By the time I had woken up, I didn't have to tell them what I had seen, as the corpse had already been discovered and word had gotten to my mom and neighbors. For the next couple of days, I could not find the appetite to eat anything, and any attempt I made ended with me throwing everything up. And every night I had a series of nightmares that always ended with me discovering that same corpse, and each time I would wake up screaming and crying just after seeing her pained face and opened eyes. And that is the scariest thing I've seen in my life.